Okay, Dad, it's been a while since we've talked about online used car dealers. We're not going to talk about Carvana in this video. Instead, Vroom, justice being served by the state of Florida. An $87,000 fine, Dad, against Vroom because what? They couldn't get titles to people? Have we heard about that before?
I've never heard anything along those lines when it comes to Vroom or some of your other digital platform retailers of cars. Yes, Vroom once again was caught being unable to provide their customers in Florida with a title and registration within 30 days of selling the vehicle. That's Florida law. So there were 87 complaints filed against Vroom for not having completed that in the requisite amount of time, and there's $1,000 fine per incident. So at this point, it's an $87,000 fine, and in many of the cases, it took months for the consumers to actually get their title and registrations. Thinking about getting an extended warranty? Go to joinyaa.com and check out our pricing there. There's no obligation, no spam, no robocalls. YAA for your extended warranty.
Let me just put this in perspective, Pops. It was back on April 20th that the state of Texas, the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, filed a lawsuit in district court against Vroom. Dad, in that lawsuit from the state of Texas, which last time I checked, Texas, Florida, kind of comparable in terms of their size and our state of unions, larger states, 5,000 complaints since 2020 is what Ken Paxton is referencing in his lawsuit. And a lot of them you can see on the BBB. Just go to the BBB's website. In the past 12 months, they've had nearly 5,000, 4,000 to 5,000 complaints. The fact that just 87 complaints have made it to fruition in terms of getting a fine against Vroom in the state of Florida, that's a tip of the iceberg. And it also puts in perspective, how did Carvana get off scotch-free? Because remember, Dad, earlier this year, Carvana was in the news because the state of Florida was going after them, and there's class action lawsuits against Carvana as well. And there are so many horror stories of people who can't legally drive their cars because they don't have titles and registration. How does Carvana get out of this without any type of issue? I can't imagine. Something's got to be coming, right?
You promised not to bring Carvana up in this video.
Sorry.
But how do they get away with it? They got deeper pockets, more money going to political action committees. That's how they get by. And for them, it's just a cost of doing business. And $87,000 for Vroom is just a cost of doing business. But God bless the new CEO of Vroom, who came on board in May, admitted to their errors with the state of Florida, agreed to the settlement, and has promised, of course, that they're going to try and do better. And the problem is they just grew too quickly, and they promised to try and figure out ways to rectify that moving forward. Most CEOs wouldn't have addressed it or admitted fault. But the new guy came in, put on the big boy pants, and said, hey, we screwed up. We're going to pay, and we're going to take care of it. Let's see if they actually do figure out how to take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to lose sleep waiting for them to actually take care of it, Pops. We know from the lawsuit that came out of the state of Texas earlier this year, they've got more issues than just getting titles into folks' hands. They were selling vehicles that had previous accidents. They had flood vehicles that they were selling and that they didn't realize. Obviously, the title and registration issues. There's a lot of issues going on at Vroom with these online car dealers. And I'll mention one other piece that I think is relevant for this video, especially in this market where we expect more repo vehicles in the near future. You can't get pre-purchase inspections at Vroom, at Carvana, and I guess even at CarMax and such. And so you have to be wary of that. You can't do a third-party pre-purchase inspection before purchasing one of these. That's, to us, a bit of a flag, a major flag for me personally. And I'm keeping that in mind. A, do I know it's a good vehicle? And B, am I going to have the title to be able to drive it? This news out of Florida is, I guess, promising in the sense that maybe they're taking accountability and going to make these things better. But like I said, I'm not holding my breath, Dad.
Well, I wouldn't hold my breath either. But we can hope. The world goes round and round on hope.
As we hear more news about Vroom and others, we'll bring it to you. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully those folks who are still waiting to drive their cars, maybe they see a little bit of this money. That would be a great thing.
I think the fines should be escalating in nature instead of just $1,000 per occurrence. But that's just me.
Okay, so obviously that Vroom news, the $87,000 in fines, that's a big deal. Now, just this morning, Carvana, actually, in the state of Illinois, got their dealer license revoked, suspended for the second time. Not the first, the second time for the same exact issue that Vroom was actually experiencing in Florida. Ultimately, what the state of Illinois decided to do was take away Carvana's dealer's license because they weren't able to transfer titles to customers within the 20-day period of time that Illinois requires. That's titles and registrations. Now, if you drive around without the title or registration of your vehicle, if you get pulled over, your car could be towed, you're going to get fined, you could get a ticket, you could even go to jail. So obviously, this is a major issue. Now, Carvana has also had their dealer license suspended in the past by the state of North Carolina. That was for 180 days. And we know they had issues with the state of Florida as well, but ultimately they were able to get out of that a-okay. Anyway, crazy news just broke this morning, totally relates to what we were talking about with Vroom, and we'll keep you posted on all the latest updates when it comes to Carvana and Vroom. Buyer beware. If you can't get your title, you can't get your registration, you can't drive your car.